Shaggy.
Who the f*** are you? You nothing. You nothing. You are nothing. You will never be anything. Never.
Colin.
Anybody know who you are? You miserable, presumptuous, no talent. You obviously don't have the talent.
And Mike, the Ape Man.
You are everything that's gone wrong in this world. You are self-consumed, no talent, mediocre piece of shit.
PTR Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. Oh, I was telling the guys before we started, it's been one of those days where I thought, oh, you know what, I'll get an early start on the work day, and, then I can be a little bit ahead. And nope, there was a surplus of emails just waiting for me. And said, you're going to start already 2 hours behind. So,
Yeah. That sounds about right. Anytime I start work early, nothing good can come from it. I don't know.
I wasn't bummed by emails. It took me half an hour to finally get attached to my machine.
Well, see, I got a new toy. Work gave me a laptop. So we're transitioning from desktops to laptops.
Yeah.
So
I got one of those too. This is my work laptop, but because I have some older software, that the desktop is the only machine in the world capable of theoretically compiling it. I still have that, so I haven't really fully set up this laptop, even though it's really supposed to be my primary machine.
These just got delivered on Friday, which was, of course, a work from home day. So they got delivered to the office on Friday when we weren't there. So Saturday, I happened to be working over at my daughter's house, and I thought, you know what? She's just a few blocks away from work. I will just swing by and pick it up. So that's what I did. I swung by, and I thought, okay, it'll make perfect sense here. I can just swing by and I can pick it up, and life will be good. So that's what I did. So, yeah. So then I spent some of the day today working on it. So, but and getting it all ready, because anytime you got to transition from one machine to another, it takes you a few days to get everything installed and ready for it. So.
Oh yeah.
You look confused, Mike.
Well, that's one reason why I guess I'm glad I work off of a virtual machine now.
Yeah.
So I don't have to deal with any hardware changes anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't work well for us IT people because they, for us to be able to do our jobs, they have to give us local admin rights, because the software that we run, it installs itself every time that we use it, because it's being updated on a daily basis by Microsoft. So giving us virtual machines, that's more access than they typically want to give us for those. So we get real machines.
Well, and they're stingy when it comes to virtual machine memory, for some reason too. Yeah. They're stingy on laptop memory. The last laptop they issued me only had 8 gigs on it. This one, I said I'm not going to get another laptop unless you let me pick the specs. So this one has 64 gigs. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to pick what I want this time. And by the way, I don't want no crappy i5. So I got an i9 this time. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you did better than I did.
Yep. I got an i9 with 64 gigs of memory, a 1 terabyte SSD, M.2, and it can support triple monitors. So, it meets my specs, my minimum specs. So.
Okay. At least I have an i7. It's not an i5.
Yeah. I told work, I'm like, if you're going to make me go to a laptop, it has to be better than my PC at home. And that was a hard order.
We have, I have 48. So you beat me all the way around.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it was just, it was, but I don't know. And they're still talking about hoteling at work and all these other fun things. And, And then we've got people who want more. I mean, people who doesn't enough. It's like, hey, well, why can't work give me monitors to take home? And can I get extra docking stations? And can I get this and that? And it reminds me when the pandemic first started and people wanted to take desks home and chairs home. And I'm like, okay, this is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I can understand the docking station.
Yeah.
But if you get the option of getting your own monitor, get your own monitor.
Yeah.
Because they're going to give you terrible monitors.
Yeah. So, but yeah. But anyway, talk about work is not what we're all here for. Some things happened. A lot of things happened. Some things even happened today in news. But if you're expecting us to break down and talk about anything that happened at a courthouse, regardless of its size, you have tuned into the wrong show. All right? There are plenty of other shows where you can find that information. If you are wanting us to break down candidates, unless it is Vernon, whatever his name is, that wore the boot, we would talk about him. And the rent is too damn high guy. We would talk about him. But that's about it. That's it. We won't talk about any other candidates for any other. Well, unless Mike, if you're running for mayor or something, we would talk about that.
No.
All right.
I
Yes.
about how I feel with local politics.
All right. What if you were running for dog catcher, Mike? Then would. What if they
Hell
just
no.
all got caught and brought to your house?
Hell no. You better stop that.
That would be the most likely, thing of why you would be running for dog catcher, right? Is you'd really just be running for dog collector, not dog catcher.
No, stop. No. No mas.
Okay. Do they even have elected dog catchers anymore?
I don't know.
Elected?
Well, we don't.
No. They're appointed.
Yeah. I don't know. Our newest dog just got broken this last week. So, she got broken and turned into RoboDog. So, it was a busy appointment for her. Well, she sure in the hell isn't fixed. She's more broken after the appointment than she is when she got there. Tell me I'm wrong on that, though, Mike. They should not call it fixed.
It depends on what side of the pet population problem you're on.
Well, you're fixing the pet population problem. You're breaking the dog. So, and then she got turned into RoboDog.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I forgot to break out. So if you're going to call your dog the RoboDog because it was fixed and broken at the same time, then you're RoboShaggy.
Well, no, because I do not have an electronic implant in me at this time.
What kind of electronic implant does she have?
She has a microchip. So
That's-
she's technically a cyborg dog. What else do you call it? You get those stupid body modifiers online. They count themselves as cyborgs when they implant all this crap under their skin. Remember
And
we did the whole.
You're going to take them at their word.
Hey, my dog's not a flat earther, okay? She believes in balls. Not anymore, but
Body modification. Oh God, I cannot believe that we're gonna go down that road. These wastes of oxygen.
But
Oh,
Look
so
at me, I have horns now. No, you.
I actually just, you get on those Facebook stupid little short reel, click holes where you suddenly an hour's gone after you're flipping through videos. I saw one where it was an ER, recreated ER thing. And a guy had put in horns himself because he was a tattoo artist. And, they had, of course, gotten infected because that's what happens to people who put horns in themselves.
Of course.
Well, they were so important to him that he was willing to die because his skull had become necrotic from the infection, and it was starting to eat his brain. But they were so important, he was willing to die and leave his wife and his kids behind. Luckily, he passed out on the concrete outside the hospital trying to leave after refusing to get treatment. So his wife made the decision for him while he was unconscious to have them removed.
I'm making the decision that he's going to get them removed. I'm also making the decision that his previously well-stated policy of not having them removed because of eating his brain was not when he was sane, because his brain is being eaten.
Yeah.
So I can see that line of reasoning working.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So kids, don't get horns. There's your you know, there's your one to walk away with, you know, or whatever they called that, you know.
I cannot believe that we actually have to make that kind of statement in this day and age.
So it's because of this day and age that we have to make that statement.
I mean, like, honestly, I thought that it was bad enough that we're going to have to, that we had to start putting on Tide Pods. Do not eat.
Well,
now we have this thing. Do not give yourself horns.
You know,
these guys probably look at Van Gogh and think he's genius for cutting his ear off. Like, oh, how'd he do it? How'd he do it? Maybe I can.
Well, there was one trauma real life in the ER where a guy amputated his own arm on purpose because it was a form of body dysmorphia where he idolized amputees.
Okay, now body dysmorphia is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
That I know.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
idolizing.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that Shaggy's goal tonight is to get me to say some shit that'll keep me from ever being eligible to run for Congress.
You already did that.
That's exactly what your goal is here. Because, I mean, you are touching on every sore spot. Like,
well,
somebody brought one of these.
He wasn't a little person.
What if it was a little person amputee?
What if it was a little British person? With a learning disability.
I was going to start.
Who went by they.
Oh, I'm so cool. Oh, I almost did it too. Oh, God. There was an impression that was ready to come out right there, and the little man, like, jumped, like, in front of the bus, like, whoa! Wow.
Not while being recorded. No. Remember, this isn't the 70s. Everything's forever now.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I got a joke for you. What's the difference between Wuhan and Vegas?
I don't know what.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Oh. All right.
I give credit to Alan from Yamad for that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of technology, Mike, you brought up Tyler Perry, which is not something we say very often on this show. But you know,
might be the first time.
Yeah, maybe. We don't speak about the Medea movies all that often, but you know. Tell me about this article about Tyler Perry and his expansion projects.
All right, so before COVID, as many people know, Tyler Perry people don't realize how much of a media mogul he really is. Like, he has his own recording studio, like, that rivals Warner Brothers outside of Atlanta. And he was planning an $800 million expansion of this studio. COVID kind of put that on the back burner, but now he's actually delaying the expansion even more because he sees the effects of AI, and he's like, we are not going to need studios like this in the future. AI is going to said if I want to be in a snowstorm, I don't have to build a set. I can have AI do it for me. If I want to and this is very interesting because a lot of the strike between the writer's strike was about the use of AI and the SAG strike. And here's Tyler Perry, who is arguably one of the biggest behind the scenes media folks right now, saying, yeah, guess what? It's coming. We can't stop it. It's coming.
Yeah.
So
he's talking the actual production side of things, instead of going out and shooting in Alaska, you can just shoot in Atlanta with a green screen and make it look like Alaska. When you get to performances and writing, especially writing, that becomes a bigger issue. The problem is, if you have an AI write your script for your movie, you have no copyright on that script, which means anybody else can just go ahead and make the same. What's the name? The Sharknado guys, Asylum.
Yeah.
Asylum doesn't have to make a bad ripoff of your movie with a different name. Asylum can just make your movie.
Yeah.
So that's
that. AI took him out. AI took out Colin.
Yeah, right?
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I needed to push my AirPods in more, make sure they don't fall out on me. And on performances, that was a bigger problem. They want to make sure that people can't just, we already paid you for your appearance. So instead of having you show up for the sequel, we're just going to have an AI duplicate you and your.
But see, Hollywood already lost that fight thanks to Crispin Glover. So,
well, I have something for us to try.
Okay.
Because we're going to see how well AI does at writing. All right? And we're going to do it with a Tyler Perry property. All right?
So, all right, so Mama Blair is actually wrote in and asked, but how would anyone know if you or AI wrote the script unless you told them?
Well, and so we're going to see, I'm lazy, though, so you'll know that I didn't write this. But luckily, I think there's 3 parts. Well, there's more than 3 parts, but we'll just do scene 1. I don't know. We'll do scene 1 and see how this turns out. All right. So, Mike, you will play the part of Agent Johnson. Colin, you will do the narration / setup. And then I, of course, will be Medea. Because why not? All right.
Okay.
So I have a shared script that we can view. So this will make it nice for everybody. Because why not? This is ridiculousness at its finest. So let me see here if I can make it so that you guys can see that a little bit easier. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Probably not. I love let's see here. Input 8. There we go. Okay, hold on one second, Mike. I'll get it. What did I set that up to? Output 2. All right, so we'll turn that on. And then here we go. Video, output 2, video. Is that any better?
Oh, yeah, that's much better. Okay.
Much better? Okay. Can you see that, Colin?
Okay, so which one am I doing again?
So you're doing the the narration. So you'll do like the parts that don't have a name next to them, okay? So this is scene 1. So Colin, start off reading.
Medea, sporting a pantsuit that pinches uncomfortably at her curves, sits across from a stern-faced Agent Johnson.
Miss Medea, we need someone to go undercover. Someone they wouldn't suspect.
Now listen here, Agent, whoever you are. I ain't exactly covert material.
Look, a fraternity house on this very campus is suspected of harboring illegal activities. We need someone to get inside, gather intel, and blow the whole thing wide open.
A frat house full of them there college boys?
This is serious, Miss Medea.
Well, all right then, but I ain't going in there looking like Miss Missionary.
Scene 2, Interior Beauty Salon Montage. Medea sits in a salon chair, enduring a full transformation. Her hair is straightened and piled high in a blonde wig. Outlandish makeup is applied, and uncomfortable high heels replace her usual sensible shoes. Scene 3, Exterior Fraternity House, Night. Medea, now disguised as a stereotypical blonde bombshell, where the effect is more bombshell that fell into a vat of rouge, struts confidently towards the frat house. Pulsating music blaring from within. Two muscular frat boys stand guard at the door.
Hey there, little lady. Lost your way to the library?
Well, hi there, sugar. I'm just looking for my friend Tiffany. She said there'll be a ranger here tonight.
The frat bros exchange confused glances.
Tiffany who?
No, you don't know Tiffany. She's the one with the assets. And the laugh that sounds like a dying walrus? Surely you must remember her.
The frat boys look even more baffled.
Look, honey, just let me in, or I'll make you wish you had.
Scene 4, Interior frat house.
Intermission. Where the hell are we going with this?
I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, this is what. Honestly, it's not a bad script. There's like, I blew up the text a lot. There's like 3 pages. But anyway, it's not a bad script, to be completely honest. So
you know where this is going to come into play?
Yeah,
this is going to come into play for Hallmark.
Yeah, it is. The Hallmark has got it down. They can generate a script any day now.
They already copied themselves anyway, so what do they care if anybody else can copy it or something?
So
I'd erase.
But no. All I said was make me a trailer. I had no idea it was going to generate me a 3-page script. You know, I was imagining, in a world, but no. And so that movie is going to be called Medea Goes Undercover, because all I told it to do was create me a trailer for a new Medea movie where Medea becomes an FBI agent and goes undercover in a fraternity house in poorly done cross-dress. So it didn't even get it done right.
I find it funny that you take someone who's dressed as a woman and then put them through a makeup montage to look like a different woman.
Yeah. Well,
for all AI know, what if it came out with a script of you have a guy dressed as a woman going through makeup to look like a guy?
Yeah. I really threw it for a loop.
Give that to your makeup department. Say, do that.
But, not a bad exercise. So, yeah.
Now, see, I can see AI. So, all right, there's a new show going to be on Sirius XM, hosted by will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas, and with an AI co-host, which, okay, that should be interesting. I have not heard it yet. I think it comes out, or they premiere it this week. But I'd be curious to see that. Now, do I see AI being useful in helping writers with writer's block? Sure.
Yeah.
I could see that. I can also see this, we already know that they've been trying to use it for college essays, and there's detection software that kind of helps the professors get past that. But there's nothing saying that AI can't provide a framework for you.
Help, yeah. I use it all the time for first drafts. I mean, I, if I'm writing an article or something on, some accessibility topic, I'm like, tell me what you know about this topic, or give me a 5-paragraph article on this topic. And so I always have it generate the first draft. And then, I mean, by the time I'm done, it's maybe 30% of what it first started with, but at least it gets me started with something. Yeah. The first draft is always the hardest. And usually I'll take, multiple iterations and I'll copy and paste and I'll move some stuff around, but it's always great to get started with. What I don't like is people think that it will do their entire job. I just got done with the discussion today about somebody thought, well, you know what? We can just throw it at all of our websites and it'll be able to answer any question. Google can just index, Google just indexes the whole internet and it can answer anything. No, it can't. It doesn't. And that's not how this works. I'm like, realistically, AI has the intelligence of a third grader. All right. What AI is doing is it is regurgitating what it knows. It might know some synonyms. It definitely don't know nothing about no acronyms. And it only knows what you told it. And the problem is if you tell it too much, it knows less than nothing. All right. Yeah. The more you tell it, the worse it gets.
If you're going to have a chatbot, you're going to have somebody who's full-time answering the questions the chatbot doesn't have the answers for yet. And then the chatbot can answer those after that, but somebody has to answer it the first time.
Because somebody said, well, we just need it to learn. And I'm like, you don't understand. It's not learning. It's not how.
That's how Skynet started.
It's not learning. This really, they are so misrepresenting this by saying it's AI because it is not intelligent.
Actually, learning, isn't that what Joshua did in War Games?
Yes.
Blow up the damn planet.
Show me Google Bard playing tic-tac-toe by itself. All right? That's what I want to see. Something figuring out a abstract concept such as sometimes there is no way to win. That's learning. This stuff is not learning.
No,
it's not Bard anymore. Now it's Gemini.
Yeah, now it's Gemini. I know.
No, it is learning. It is artificial intelligence. What people are misunderstanding is it's not artificial sapience and not artificial sentience. It's just artificial. It is artificial learning. That's what it does. It learns and regurgitates.
Yeah, it's just regurgitation. It's not thinking. It's not conceptualizing. Right. It's not understanding. It's not, creativity. So for all those people that are worried about Skynet and are worried about it taking over, if it had a book on how to do that exactly, then yeah, it could play out that book, like the DARPA, databases. But beyond that, it doesn't know how to do it. It can't come up with that plan. I mean, I guess it could analyze historical plans and then possibly look for the best match, but it couldn't come up with I don't know that it could come up with a great plan on its own and then be able to adapt to the changes of that. I just don't think that it can figure things out on the fly the way that we can. It's not there.
No. So here's the thing. I mean, here's where the real AI starts coming in. Okay, where the real AI starts coming in is when you have a model that you yourself have trained. Okay, so basically, you have trained the AI to do stuff for you. You are kind of. It's like I was describing it the other day to somebody. It's like we were all becoming. All of us programmers in the future were wizards. And we've trained this minion on what we want it to do. And we can make it do things because we're the ones who trained it. And where the law comes in, and all these people, yes, there's people complaining about Skynet, but that's not going to happen. The problem we have is if you train a model, then that model is encompassing part of you. And if you allow somebody else to take ownership of that model, you've allowed somebody else to take ownership of part of your mind. It's basically slavery at that point. So that is where law has to change to say, if you've trained the model, you have to retain rights to that model. If you allow your corporate overlords to own that model, then we become less.
Speaking of ownership, I just posted an article, so I doubt you guys saw it. But in England, we've talked about kids with phones before. All right? And in particular, and Mike, you have something to do with the telecommunications industry. We won't say exactly what, but you have something to do with it. And we all remember, because we're old people, the original cell phones, right? The candy bar phones, the bag phones, the brick phones, the indestructible phones, where you could, drop them from the top of a parking lot and the battery would pop out and you'd have to put it back in and keep, and could talk again, right? Nokias. That's what we're talking about, because that was the brand that everybody equated with a phone that would last forever. Well, a school in England is Dorset is bringing in a scheme where parents can borrow basic brick phones and give to their children instead of smartphones.
Okay.
In an effort to curb phone addiction for children while still retaining the ability to contact them.
Yeah, especially like during the school day. I see that.
This particular school is for children aged 4 to 11.
I saw, I think it was a Facebook short recently where someone took I think it was like a Texas Instruments graphic calculator and hollowed it out so that they could hide their cell phone inside the graphic calculator.
One, ingenious.
Because,
but
why?
For cheating on tests. Because the graphic calculator, if you're answering these math questions, you need your graphing calculator, but you actually have access to the internet to look up what the answers are.
I mean, we just used graphing calculators to cheat on tests. We didn't need a phone.
Yeah, that took a lot of work.
So,
we had to go to the trouble of actually typing everything in to the program area of the calculator. So at least that was study, not just doing a search on the internet.
But, so yes, the school for children aged between 4 and 11 is looking at offering the basic phones, which can only send and receive texts and calls at a minimum or no cost to parents. Said parents were putting blocks on their children's smartphone, but the peers are sending them videos or recordings. So despite the parents' interventions, some adult material is still getting through, regardless of the blocks the parents put in place. Staff at the schools have also noticed behavioral problems with some pupils due to excessive screen time and said there had been issues with pupils' relationships due to social media. Smartphones are great and do wonderful things, but we are seeing patterns and issues with them in school. We want to provide parents with options so they can borrow one from us so we can remove the financial barrier.
Okay. Mama Blair wrote in asking, what's the difference in how autocorrect, quote unquote, learns how you write on text and does a crappy job from AI? Well, it's simple. Autocorrect is basically predictive text, which is all a mathematical calculation. It presents the most likely words that would follow the previous word based off of the first couple of letters that you have typed.
It knows that I write duck a lot more than I write tuck. So therefore, when I write puck, it says, nope, you wrote duck. No, I don't write either of those
like Copilot, for example, not only will try to figure out what the end of the word is that you're typing, it might try to figure out the next sentence.
Gmail does that now as well. It'll give you predictive text based off of what you've already written, and you can just hit tab to go to the end, which is kind of freaking annoying. But
yeah,
especially when you want a tab.
I will say it is kind of nice in coding, though, because then you can just basically write the first couple letters of what you're trying to do, and it finishes out the function. So that has been kind of nice. So anyway, I don't know. I was trying to figure out if this was really a great deal, and the school kind of wanted to get in on this, and was purely from an altruistic standpoint, or if Nokia put somebody up to something because they really wanted to get rid of some new old stock. You know,
Nokia does well. I don't think Nokia makes cell phones anymore.
Sony Ericsson, maybe. I don't know.
They definitely don't make cell phones anymore.
Sony has so HMD apparently makes the Nokia phone now, not actual Nokia. Let's see. Non-smartphones, who still makes them? TCL still makes flip phones. Ascom, never heard of them. Best dumb phones and non-smartphones. Are they still? I don't know if they still basic phones. Let's see what Verizon sells for basic phones. Kyocera Flip. There is a Nokia Flip, but it's made by somebody else. It's just a name licensed.
Yep.
They're all.
It looks like the old
they're
Razors.
all flips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for some reason, I think Sony Ericsson is now Alcatel.
I think you're right. All right. Time for one more before we get into it. Mike, do we want to talk about potholes, Toyotas, or veterinarians?
Well, potholes is just, that's just stupid.
It's a way of life.
I could sum this up real quick, okay? New Jersey does this every freaking year where they have an initiative to use up all the leftover asphalt that they have, and they patch potholes across the state. And by patch, I mean the first good rainfall you get, they're getting screwed up again. There's some areas that are more hot patched than they are actual road. So,
but you got a phone number you can call, Mike.
Yeah, but so what? This is just another virtue signaling bullshit from my state government. No, I don't think we want to talk about.
We don't want to talk about.
Some of that hot patching is just to keep the hole itself from getting any bigger. That they know that the patch itself isn't going to last, but they don't want the hole getting bigger.
No, the problem is New Jersey thinks the Band-Aid is the solution. So that's they never come back and repave at all.
Which one did you say we don't want to talk about?
We don't want to talk about Toyotas.
Okay.
We can talk about the vets. This one.
Okay.
So we're not. This one, there's. It's kind of a gray area. It's not vets as in veterans. It's vets as in veterinarian. And so you guys both own pets. So let me just ask this generally speaking. Would you trust a blind veterinarian?
I don't think. I don't know that I would trust a blind doctor, so I would have to say no to a blind veterinarian as well. You know?
Okay. Colin?
I'm trying to think. It's questionable, yes.
I mean,
Very questionable.
Now, granted, the article says that this Texas student was born prematurely with limited vision, so she's legally blind. Now, legally blind could just mean you are just barely, your vision is just poor enough that we will not give you a driver's license.
Right. You need magnification.
Yeah. Right? That being said, I still don't know if I would fully trust even a legally blind veterinarian. According
to this, she has less than 10% field of vision in her right eye, in one eye, and her right eye can only detect movement. Oh, no, she has less than 10% vision, and her right eye can only detect movement. Her left eye is a little better at seeing shapes, colors, and large prints, but she has trouble seeing far distances.
I'm not going to trust
Yeah.
this doctor to do surgery.
No.
I'll tell you that
No.
right now. Interpreting blood work, perhaps.
Yeah. I just, I don't know that I would.
I mean, listen, I'm all about equal opportunity, and good for her for wanting to pursue her dreams. But it kind of sent me down the train of thought, the road, like, okay, well, you could be anything you want when you grow up. Maybe we need to rethink that. Because there are some limitations that we may need to think about. Okay. You could be anything you want when you grow up. I want to be a pilot. Okay. I don't think that's feasible, son. You're blind. Like, let's I don't think you're going to be an astronaut. And I'm not trying to be mean, but there's just certain limitations that.
Well, let me put it this
generation,
way.
Of course, you can't tell somebody they can't do something because then you're not being an ableist or something. Well, I don't know what the hell I mean.
Let me do it this way. You can try. You can try and be one, but according to this Wikipedia article, there's only ever been 2 blind American physicians who have earned a medical degree. There's a lot of doctors.
Listen, one of them could have been a psychologist.
I
could see that.
This is the school of medicine, not school of psychology or psychiatric.
Well, there's medical. There's the kind of mind doctor who can give you medicine.
Well, yeah.
They actually are. They would. Yes. So I don't remember exact terms for everybody. I can see that.
So there's a psychiatrist and a psychologist, right?
Right.
So a psychiatrist, I think, can give. And I know they have to have basic medical training, but I can understand somebody diagnosing your mental issues, perhaps. But even then, no, because if you got to read a CAT scan, how's it going to read?
Let me give you the qualifications of this guy, because you will actually be impressed with this guy. Tim Cordes is a blind American physician who earned a Doctor of Medicine degree from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in 2005 and is the second blind person ever to be accepted to an American School of Medicine. By the way, that's important. This isn't
American school.
Yeah, this isn't like the University of Mumbai, all right? Valedictorian of the University of Notre Dame, with a Bachelor's of Science in Biochemistry, Cordes also has earned a black belt in jiu-jitsu and carried the Olympic torch through Wisconsin in 2002. As an infant, he was diagnosed with Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy, which caused his blindness.
So he didn't go to
what does he actually do?
Medical.
Well, he is... I don't know what he actually does, but he is...
he gives lectures about how he was blind and graduated from medical school.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know, but he's pretty impressive. So he's Dr. Kickass.
I was concerned about even bringing this up because honestly, I feel like if you tell somebody they can't do something in this day and age, you're immediately labeled as wrong.
Listen, I can't fly, all right? I can flap my arms all day long. I'm not going to take off from the ground, all right? There are just some things you physically can't do, all right?
Brendan, when I was little, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a dinosaur.
Well, you can put your arms like this all you want.
I tried to be a dinosaur.
But it's not going to work. You're going, but that doesn't make you a T-Rex. Oh, man.
No, look, if they can get through school and then they can get, back to the vet, if they can get through school and they can get their, the boards or whatever it is,
Nobody's saying you can't try. That's what I think. That's what we need to hone in on here, Mike. Right? Nobody's saying you can't try, but you still have to pass like everybody else. All right.
Yeah.
Now, okay, but this is where I'm going to hell. But if you're blind, okay, if you are only have 10% vision, and you go to school to be a veterinarian.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you succeed and you graduate,
mm-hmm.
who is paying your tuition?
Well,
I need to know this because this is like a perfect example of somebody we're going to hear about later on that is looking for debt forgiveness.
I'm sure. Because nothing in the student loan says that it has to be a viable career for you. It just says it has to be a career.
No, but let's look at things that they could actually specialize in. Specializing in handling tricky births of cows.
You want them to deliver Norman?
I'm just saying, everything there is like, yeah, they got to reach inside and get the calves.
So you're saying that
the
increase in the feel of touch is going to be useful to them. That's what
I'm saying
you're going to put them in a pen with a 3-ton animal, with an angry 3-ton animal. You're going to put them in a slippery pit. No.
Just saying, it's all inside the cow. You can't see it anyway. That's something they could do. They would need an assistant to handle, to watch the cow.
Well, the good news is I don't think many cow births are completely unassisted. There's probably more than one person involved. But I don't know that I would have gone straight to cow. I might have tried for a smaller animal first. I don't know that my mind would have gone to cow. Why didn't you?
How many veterinarian shows have you watched? Because they tend to do lots of cows.
Why didn't you say elephant? I mean, if it's bigger, obviously hands would have been more helpful.
Because I haven't seen many elephants showing up on the various pet shows.
Dr. Jeff.
The whole world was fascinated with the stupid giraffe.
That freaking giraffe. It's been years, but it's
still
haunts me.
Yep. I don't know. But all right. It is time for us to get to our movie review. And I didn't check with everybody to make sure that they watched it. So
I watched it.
Everybody watched it. So I watched it early. I watched it pretty quickly after we decided on it too. So this evening we are watching Lift, the Netflix Kevin Hart movie, where it is a heist movie. So I picked it. So you guys want me to do the rundown on it? Okay.
Yes, that was decided.
Okay, good. So Lift is I would equate it to like an Ocean's 11-ish type movie. It's your typical heisty movie. The neat thing that we have going on in here is that the heist crew is actually getting blackmailed by the FBI, or Interpol, whatever you want to call it, and in order to steal this money from a moving plane, which is a nice little twist on the genre that they have to steal it mid-flight. Nice cast of characters. Nobody who I really recognize from a whole lot of other stuff other than Chris Hart. And I think that overall it had a good storyline to it. It was a played out, bit of a trope, but overall I did enjoy the storyline. I thought that it had enough nuances to it, but yet enough callbacks to familiar heist films before where you weren't bored with it overall. The storyline moved along nicely. It was a little bit, I think it was around like the 2-hour mark. And there were a few, things that you learned towards the end, which were pleasant surprises. I can't tell whether they set it up for a sequel or not at the end. It felt like they did, but they didn't. It wasn't overtly set up for a sequel, but it sure felt like it had a sequel coming. So overall, I was very happy with it. I think that if you're looking for a date night movie where you want a little bit of, it's not rom-com, it's not action, it's somewhere kind of a little bit in between. I think this could definitely fit the bill. My wife watched it with me. She said, "How did this make it onto your list?" It's actually a real movie, and it's not bad. So take that for what it's worth, because she's used to some of the other stuff that we watch. She stayed awake during it, so that's always a positive indicator. So overall, I was very impressed with the movie. I thought that it was good. I have a feeling Colin's going to say, "Well, this is a real movie, so it gets a different rating." But in general, very clean movie to me. I thought that it did well. I put it kind of in. It's not a Red Notice caliber. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you're expecting this to be like Red Notice caliber with like The Rock and everything, it's different. It's a lower tier. All right. It doesn't have the same star power. It doesn't have the same budget. It doesn't have any of that. But if you're looking at it from a just, hey, this is a Chris Hart film, and so it's got a Chris Hart budget, then you're okay.
Who?
Sorry, not Chris Hart. Kevin Hart. So
Kevin Hart, Chris Tucker.
Yeah. So Kevin Hart, but it's not a Ryan Reynolds joint where you're going to get millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars for it. But it was nice nonetheless. I'm going to give it a smile myself. I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was a pretty decent movie. Do we want to go to Colin next? He gave ugly smirk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead. It's going to be Smirk. So I'll go ahead and jump ahead and give my rating. Smirk. No, this is not a real movie. This is an exact example of what an AI-generated movie would look like. It's every single plot point in the entire movie was directly lifted from other movies. It has a ton of Ocean's 12, down to the lost girlfriend that the good guy, bad guy wants to get back with. It has the twist is the exact plot points from Heist, one of the best caper movies ever made. It's just Oh, and no, there are two people you would know. Yeah, so yes, as Kevin, but also has Vincent D'Onofrio, who was been many things. He's the current Kingpin. He was the bad guy in the original Men in Black. He was the star of Law and Order Criminal Investigative Unit. Anyway, he's been in lots of stuff. Completely wasted in this movie. He played the part of the old guy from the Ocean's movie who So anyway, I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, so he's that character. Basically, take everything from Ocean, every character from any of these other movies, take some of them out, and smash them into this movie, and take all the plot points, mix them in an AI blender. There is not a single unique thing that came up in this movie. But also, because this goes back to the whole AI generated scene thing. So they have a stupid AI generated plane. Who not only did they come up with this plane, but for some reason the AI generation of this thing was so cheap that they stick the thing in the back of every single scene through most of the movie, which means that there's probably the entire movie is probably shot in the green screen. It's just, I give it a smirk because its quality is fine. It was shot fine. I somewhat enjoyed it just because it was made out of lots of movies that I enjoy, so it's kind of hard to make it not enjoyable. But because it's such a ripoff, I think it's definitely a smoke.
All right. Mike?
All right. So I get through most of this movie without a single damn thing to say. We get to the scenes where they're actually on the plane. And I suddenly realized that this is actually supposed to be a comedy heist. And up until this point, I felt like Kevin Hart was trying to show us some new range with a serious role that doesn't rely on the presence of The Rock. How quickly I was mistaken. As they're setting up for the heist, the one dude walks through an active laser that is at eye level. And immediately I'm like, dude, you could have gone blind and screwed this entire thing up. Safety first. Where are your glasses? Now, I've never flown first class. I'll admit that. I'm a peasant. But if I ever did, and it looked like first class in the plane that they're on, I would probably get 2 more jobs and work 23 hours a day just to be able to take that one trip on that plane. Now, they get to the scenes near the end where they are on the AI-generated plane that is supposed to be a NASA prototype, but folks, let's just back up here. No plane should ever have a sunroof. Ever. But this is such a special AI-generated plane that the laws of physics stop applying. They're on a jet flying upside down, going in a full nosedive, and instead of being pinned to the back of the plane, they fall forward toward the cockpit. So, at this point, it completely jumps the shark, and I'm just like, no, this is just dumb. I tuned out. But I gave it a smirk. Was it fun? Yes, it was fun. Was it rewatchable? Probably not. To Shaggy's point, the ending was specifically ambiguous as to whether or not it was a sequel because they wanted to see how the first one was received before they committed. And I do believe that it did well enough that they're at least considering. But to Colin's point, it completely underutilized the national treasure that is Vincent D'Onofrio, who was quite possibly rose to stardom as Private Pyle in Full Metal Jacket. I don't know. Would I like to see a sequel? I don't know. I would, maybe if they keep it on the ground. But we'll see.
Yep. So right now, so Lyft cost $100 million to make. So, and that's not much for.
No, it's pretty cheap.
You
like
know,
I said, there's all AI.
So yeah, it wasn't that much, realistically.
I do not know why they decided to take that plane and cover it with metal from Mad Max.
Well, to make it invisible to radar, duh.
Because as my father said while we were watching it, that's where the military got wrong, spending all that money on stealth bombers. All you need to do is just stick a bunch of sheet metal on it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, and paint it black. Yeah.
I was like, you already have it covered with LCDs. why didn't you just have, oh, I figured out how to make this plane go into stealth and do the X-Men Blackbird thing of just using all those cameras and stuff to make the plane turn into, so it always shows what's behind it so that it becomes invisible.
But that doesn't.
Why did the plane have all those cameras on it?
So that you could show it on the bottom.
But they didn't.
Well, but they did show the video.
No, because they had the LCD screen along the whole bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, which just said the civilian hostages on board. That's all they did with that thing.
No, they also played the video.
Yes. But what I'm saying is, that's the thing the plane was supposed to be able to do. It had all those cameras on it, so it could look around the thing and shoot, show on the plane what's behind the plane, so the plane becomes invisible. But instead, they covered it with sheet metal.
I don't know. But, we've watched worse. Let's put it that way.
Oh, we definitely watched worse.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, speaking of worse, let's figure out what we're going to watch next. Mike.
So, I may have a potential bump.
All right.
Because I may invoke the sequel clause here.
Ooh, okay.
Because a sequel just came out of a movie that we reviewed in May of 2021.
Ooh, 3 years in the making.
Code 8.
Oh,
Part 2.
I watched the trailer. I wasn't sure when the movie was going to come out because Netflix just had the trailer on.
Code 8 Part 2.
I do not remember this.
It's the Amell brothers. It says it's out, but okay. I did not see that on Netflix for some reason. Let's see here. See if it comes out. See if it shows up on their Netflix.
Oh yeah, it's as soon as you log in, it's the banner movie that.
All right, I'm all about it. I love the Amell brothers. They should be in every movie. The Amell brothers and the Hemsworth brothers against each other.
Yeah.
Battle Royale. That would be good. Yes, I'm good with that.
So, just out of curiosity, how did we rate it? The original.
So where is it? The original. Shaggy gave it a smile. Colin and I gave it a shnikes.
Probably because there wasn't enough Stephen Amell in it. I probably wanted more Stephen, and there was more Robbie in it than Stephen. And I was really into Green Arrow at that time.
So this will be a good one to see.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll take point on it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I wonder what the because the budget for the original movie was not that much. And I have no idea what the sequel cost yet, but I have a feeling they put more money into the sequel. Yeah, they started shooting the sequel in 2021. So it took a while.
So
it
it may have gotten
COVID delayed.
I was just going to say, I'm afraid to, I'm at a point now where I'm afraid to say when things get COVID delayed because quite frankly, I cannot remember. It's like there's a 2-year gap in my memory of when things were locked down and things were shut down. And we had the writers and SAG strike. So I don't know what the hell happened for the last couple of years when it comes to Hollywood.
True.
So when you said COVID delayed, I was like, okay, maybe I was right this time.
Even if it wasn't directly in a lockdown situation, there was a lot of knock-on delays that happened with stuff. So
Yes.
I don't see a price on it right now, so that'll be interesting to try and find out. So, all right. Well, that works. That will be what we will watch for the next one. So, cool.
Now, Code 8 actually came out in 2019. The original. We didn't review it until 2021.
Yeah.
So this was actually 5 years in the making.
Ooh. Well, Netflix bought the rights to the sequel not long after the premiere. So it didn't take long for them to know that they had a hit.
Oh, so it was not COVID delayed.
Well, the sequel didn't start
actually-
filming until 2021, so that may have been COVID.
No, it was shot in 2021.
Mm.
According to an article I read back then, it was shot and it was done.
I don't know. The good news is
production.
Good news is running time.
We get to watch it now.
100 minutes. So it's going to be a fairly short watch. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to the show. Don't forget, check out ptrradio.com or at PTR Radio on your favorite messenger social media app. We will be back in 2 weeks, which will put us back on the 18th. So look for us on March 18th. Until then, let's see here. When is... that'll put us back day after St. Patrick's Day. So have fun with your green beer, and we will be seeing you right after that. So, we'll at that point the river in Chicago will hopefully have not been green anymore, but we can talk all about the shenanigans that we all got into on then. So, and we'll be gearing up for our Easter celebration. We don't have an Easter celebration, but we can talk about it still nonetheless. So we'll be back on the 18th. I don't have anything to talk about as far as upcoming things. You guys got anything coming up? Nope. No. All right. So folks, that pretty much does it for us. I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I'm Mike the 8 Man.
Stick a fork in us, folks. We are done. Later.